In this video, we're going to answer one of the viewers' questions, which is how to sort a chart from lowest to highest value in chart.js. And this is a wonderful question. So, alright, so first of all, this is a viewer's question. Let me show you exactly where this question came from. Was here in one of my other videos regarding to understanding the chart area positioning in plugins in chart.js. This is absolutely an interesting topic, by the way. If you're interested in how to create a chart.js plugin, start to watch these videos here, especially this one. It says in number 11, but it's part 4, and I think there's right now 7 series in total, or 7 episodes on that one. Definitely check. However, in here, if I scroll down, we have a question here from Felix. So a special thank you for Felix for asking this question. And this is the following what Felix asked. Hello, have you ever made a video on how to sort chart from lowest to highest value? From left to right. On the left, lowest, and on the right, the highest value. To be honest, I never made a video, but I was planning to make this video, I think a month ago, but I forgot about it. So special thank you for reminding me about this. So yes, all right, let's try and work on this because I've had a lot of material on this one, but I also had some mistakes in there at the time, and lucky for you, you will find these mistakes, or you will not make these mistakes that I made. All right, first things first, let's create a chart. I'm going to create a chart here, and this is chartjs 3.4.1, which is the latest version. So in here, I'm going to just grab here the default settings here, because I'm going to grab this one here. We will not spend much time on this. Then next what I want to do is here, is I'm going here on the getting started, and I grab this part here, JavaScript library. And that will be in, I will just overwrite this one, all right. And then I grab this one here, the canvas with the nested divs. And what I will do here, proper indentation, tap, here we are. Here, a class, just to make sure that we have a fixed width. Chart box. And then here, I'll say a style. This style will indicate the class name. Of course, that's this one. I already have a style tag here. And then here we just give it a width of 700. So width 700 pixels. Save that. Remove this excess space. Go back here, refresh. All right, so we have this one here, straightforward. What we want to do, we want to sort this. The sorting here is an extreme challenge. And this is why I understand you asked this question, because at the beginning I thought it would be an easy one when I was trying to work on this. But there are so many angles on here. First of all, we need to make sure we get the values. Secondly, we need to extract the matching color pair. Basically here, the background color, but also the border color. Next, we need to match also the label. And finally, our sorting must be intelligent enough to understand if we have double data. You can see here number 3 and number 3, because this was a big problem at the time. When I sorted it, it worked perfectly, except it couldn't figure out these two here. Double data or identical data was considered as one type, where it automatically assigned the wrong color value as well. So for example, if you sorted this one, it will get for this, it will change this to yellow as well. We're going to solve this, so don't worry. This one we're going to fix. Before I do this, I will have to make here some blocks. So I'm going to make that here. I'm going to make here a setup block. We have here a config block. And we have here our render/init block. This is very important. Chart.js is working and moving towards this part. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to grab everything here from the data here. This will be our data block or setup block. Here is a constant. This is the constant of data equals curly braces. Put in this here. All right, then we're done. Make sure you have the parentheses here. Same story here. Config for configuration. Here, parentheses and curly braces. And in here, we're going to put in all the configuration part, which is the core part. Basically here, the 3 items I would call the skeleton or the bones of chart.js. Without these, you will not have a chart at all. All right. Here for the data, remove this and put a comma. And finally here, the render and initialization block. Here, constant will be the ID name. It's my chart. equal new. We're going to make a constructor with a chart capital C, parentheses in here, semicolon, very important. Pay attention here, parentheses here, curly braces here. Yes, this is the only one because it's a constructor. All right, got this. Grab this part only. We don't need this. It's already given in chart.js. It understands it already automatically. Comma config. All right, so now we're done here. And then if I save this now and refresh, you can see everything's the same. So all right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to work on using the arrays. So we're going to break down what we need to do. So what do we need to do? Let's break it down here. We can put it just here above the setup. Oh, here. All right, let me break it down what we need to do. First of all, we need to get all the data that we want to match with it. So the data match. And the data match is basically the labels, this, that, and here, this one here. All right. And what we want to do here is we want to not merge them together, but we want to make it like a key value pair. The reason we do this is that it will automatically match. For example, 12 is matched with the color red here, but also with this color red here and with the text here. And this is essential because if you don't match this, you will get the issue here. Because you might say, well, I can just use index of. And with index of, you will get the values. It will filter them nicely, except it cannot filter numbers that are identical and which also have a pair or basically matching value. Because right now it's just individually here. So this is a big trap where most people might be in there. And I had the same issue as well. So this is what we're going to do. First, we have the data match. We're going to put all the data in. Then we're going to match them. Match all data into a object, basically. But this object will be a key value pair. But we are not only one. We're not working with two values as a pair, but we have basically two pairs, meaning 4 values. Every pair has 2 items, so basically 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 data points we're working here, and those are, I guess, 2 pairs because there are 4 in a or 2 in a pair. All right. So I hope that makes sense. So it's basically 4 data points. We match them all together, and they're considered as 1 eventually. All right. Once we have that, we need to eventually convert. Well, if we convert it right to the object, yeah, so maybe here convert to object as well. But here what we need to do is sort the object based on data point, which is our data here. Once we have that, then we break it down again into 4 arrays, which will be eventually reassigned here below. Alright, so I hope you get this, which will be reassigned in the chart. Alright, so let's start from the very beginning. First of all, we need to work with the data. So I'm going to create here constant. I'm going to get the data match. I guess collect the data first. Data collection. Alright, so we say here const equal data. Grab this, put it in here. Next one, enter. So we can do that here, semicolon. I notice more and more other people are starting to say you don't need to use a semicolon, and I notice that sometimes I'm doing it, sometimes I don't do it. Doesn't matter, not really much apparently. Apparently it always works. However, it's probably good practice to have a semicolon here. Next one, what do we need to do here? The labels, sorry, the labels. So I give here const labels, grab all of this data, put it in here. Next one is const. This will be the border color. Yes, and then here the border color is basically this part here. I'll grab this all and paste this in here, and then I'm going to move this and remove some of the excess space on there. There we are. That looks beautiful, nicely organized. All right, is this? All right. So there we are. this is the border color, and I realize that if this is not correct, this is the background color, probably. Am I correct? Because the border color is not transparent. Sorry, this is the background color. Border color has a value of 1 here on the alpha, remember that, because it's solid. Alright, so we can do is here, maybe here this, I'll just put in here, and then I say here, this will be border color. And the border color, I just make this 1, 1, 1, 1, number 1, and finally here the same one, number 1. Alright, we've got all of the 4 data points now. Next, we're going to convert them. So to convert them, we're going to use the array map function. And the array map function is basically a function that will loop through an array and do exactly the same as every value in that array. Makes sense? Basically, it's like a loop for us, which is perfect. That's what we need here, because what we want to do now is we want to merge them all together. So pay attention here, because this one is slightly tricky. So we say here let, and the reason why it's a let because we're going to loop through this value, so it must be let, and we call it a value of merge. And we say merge here equals what? Well, you can get one of the data. What I will say is I'll just grab this one here, the border color, as our leading one. So we're going to grab this, and I say here merge equals border color, and then we say here dot map. And this dot map, then we're going to assign here the following. We'll give it a name, and let's say here border, and then we say comma I. And the I here is basically the one that we're going to use as a iterator, or basically it's an index. It's an index, but this will be also the one that we iterate at the same time. And the iteration means repeating yourself multiple times, aka a loop, right? So it's loop, iteration, same story. So we got that. Now we have the arrow sign, and then we're going to start to use our function here. So in here, we're going to return the following. What are we going to return? Well, pay attention. This is what we're going to return. We're going to return here. First one is, we're going to give it a name. So what will be the name here? I guess the best name would be here, because this is an object. We're creating an object here. We say border. Alright, in the border, you want, what exactly do we want? We will get the value here. We can grab this one here. And then we just put in here, and then I. As you can see, this looks like a iteration or a for loop. Once we have that, comma, next item. What is the next item? We're going to use here, I would say here, well, we have the border now. Let's say here, I'll call it, well, I guess background color, or maybe background. That will be fine. So don't use too much the same terms, because it might be confusing, especially what we're doing here. We're using a lot of things that are quite similar. That might be already a trick already, or tricky already. So we grab this one here, the background color. We want to loop through this one as well, identically at the same time with this, because these are matching values. So we create our matching value pair. Another matching value pair that we want is, of course, here, for example, the data. So we can give this a data point. That's a nice name. And oh, make sure this is a string. So quotations. And because this is an object, double quotations, by the way, not single quotations, double quotations. Here, then we get here data I. Final one that we want to pair is the label. So we say here, double quotation, label, or labels with an S. Make sure that this is like, oh no, this is the text, but we grab the labels, plural, with S. Here we are, I. Alright, so now we've got the 4 data points that we want. So we have to make sure that this is everything closing, semicolon here. Alright, so now we have this here. So to get an understanding what we really have, let's put in here console log and say merged. Save that and then refresh here. Alright, there's some error probably. Identify data has been already declared. Alright, as you can see, this is an issue here. It's good that we did it here already. However, here, don't do this as well. So we call this, I'll call data value. And the data value here probably grabs in here. So you can see here, this will be matching. So data value, or I guess data point, can be used here as well. Save that. Maybe we make it data points as plural, while the others are singular. Alright, now it works fine. Open up here, you see the console log, and there you are. You can see here now, our matching items are correct. You can see 12 points equals red, with the label red, and then probably the red color. Let's double check if this is correct. 255,99132. Alright, so the red color, the first one will be 255,99132. Alright, that's correct. Let's look at the very last value, which is the 6th value, but it's the 5th index number 5. 255, we're going to check the color as well, validate the color. 255,15964. 255,15964. Oh, and then number 1, of course, here for the border color, that is correct. Border color is showing this. Alright, so we've got this now. Yes. So now we are basically allowed to sort it. So we're going to sort this now. We have to do it here. So we're not done yet. I'm going here next. But basically this here, this console log has confirmed what we did is exactly on point. Alright? So next step here. How are we going to sort this? So basically we're going to sort it in an array, and what we have to do is we have to do it from low to high. That was Felix's specific request. So we're going to say here the following, constant. Then we say here, I'll just give it a value of data sort. And here, what we're going to do is we're going to sort the data. So what are we going to grab? Well, this is our constant, but our data that we want to sort is in here. We say merge, and then we say here dot sort. So once we do this, we say dot sort, and then we create a function as well. And this function is necessary because in array sort, or sorting array, the default sorting is alphabetic order. So what we need to do is we need to do it in a numbering order, and that's why we're going to use two values, A, comma, B. You can use anything else, this can be anything, but basically what will happen is the following. It will compare the values, and then specifically these values. Later on we're going to pinpoint that. It will compare these values by deducting from each other every time in a loop. Because this is also like a function, so it's a loop as well. It loops through that, deduct it, and then it can calculate. So for example, it will first calculate 12 minus this, then minus that, minus that, minus that, minus that. Based on the results here, it understands which position it is. And then this one will do the same. 19 minus this, minus that, minus that, minus that, minus that. And then it will calculate where it is in position, and so it can order itself. It's quite clever, to be honest, but quite complicated as well at the same time. Because basically you're making 6 times 6 or 36 calculations at a very split of a second, and based on that it will calculate. Alright, so I hope that makes sense. And if not, do not worry. You don't have to understand basically how it works, but knowing it is beneficial. So now what we're going to do here is basically this. We say here, what we want to do is return, and we say return dot data point, or basically the data, let me get here, the item here. Basically this one here. This is your data point, because that's the one you want to target. Because we only want to compare this value, and everything else will match itself together afterwards. So data point A minus, or A dot data point minus B dot data point, which are comparisons of this, and then it loops through. Alright? So once it does this, you have like this here. Oh, let me double check. I think I have a tiny mistake here. Alright, I see here we have a tiny mistake. This should not be here, because those parentheses should be here. Alright, so because we have the closing one, that's similar here. So we have this here, only one parenthesis here, and here you only have two, and after that one will be here closing. So once we have this, we can now get the values as well. Well, what we can try, what we can do is we can just get the sorted data. Console.log, sorted data. Save that, refresh. Open up here and pay attention here now. Alright, we sorted it from low to high because of this. If you want to change, maybe you want to somewhere with high to low, switch A and B with each other. Alright, I'll show you that later on. So here we have low to high. You can see here the first value is now number 2, which is purple. Alright, that is correct. Purple is here, number 2. The next value will be number 3, which is yellow. Alright, that's great. That's this one here. And let's see if it will see the other yellow for other number 3, which is orange. So we click on this one, and there you are. The third value is orange, number 3. So this is fine, because I had before that this was twice yellow. So now you don't have this issue, because the issue has been solved based on the structure we did, because of the key value pair. Alright, very, very important what I gave you here. This took me not much time to figure out. Alright, so now we have this here, so I'm satisfied with this. I do want to show you just in case. High to low. Save this, refresh, open up here. A should be now blue, which is number 19, the highest value. Alright, that's correct, blue. And then the lowest value will be the number 2, which is purple. Yes, that is correct. So this works perfectly. A, comma, B. Alright, so we're almost there. Last, final part is this here. Alright, we have the arrays now, or the objects. Now what we need to do, we need to split them out. So how are we going to split them out? Well, if you've seen my array series, you probably know one of the tricks, which is push. We're going to push them. So what we're going to do, we're going to assign a new constant or new variable or new constant to every one of those, and then we push them all in there. Alright, that's what we're going to do, because we don't want to adjust the original data here. We don't want to touch the original data. We're only going to create new data. Very important. Never adjust your original data, because you might need them again. So what we're going to do here, very simple and very straightforward. Constant. And here we can say, for this one, what's the first one would be the border. So let's say B color, BC, border color. Alright, and then we make array blank. Then we have another one. We say here constant. This will be the background color. So we can say BGC. Quite simple. I'm just using shortcuts now. You can give them better names if you want. This is just for demo purposes. Constant. And then we say here, the data points, db. Maybe db is not the right term, maybe data b. It looks too much like database, but you get my point. Finally, the last one is the label. So I'll just call it LAB for lab, it's shortcut for label. There we are. So in here, now what we need to do is a for loop. So we're going to create a for loop. And in the for loop, we say I, which stands for iteration. We already know what that means. Then we say I equals 0. So we loop this through, or we iterate it, and then we say we keep on doing I as long as I is smaller than what exactly? Well, we get a data sort dot length. And if we do this, you will see here the data sort here as well has a length of 6. So it will loop through this 6 times. Alright, and then we say here I plus plus. Here, put in the parentheses here, or sorry, not parentheses, the curly braces. And then in here, what we're going to do is the following. We'll say here the following. We will put in here BC for the background color, push. And then what we're going to push is basically this data sort. Where we have the data sorted. Then we get here the I. And the reason why we get the I here, because you can see here we have all these numbers. Basically, these are every set here has like their own array, as you can see. So we want I 0, and then we get here what is the name we want. Well, if it's border color, we just say border. There it is. So we say I dot border. All right. So that's number 1. And once we have that, the next one is exactly the same. We can say here BCG dot push, and then we have here again data set. Well, what we grab now is not the border, but this is the background color. What is the official name? You can see here. These are all the official names. Background. Next one. We could put in a semicolon. That should be nice. All right. Next one. It's the DB for the data points. Data points dot push, and then we say here data sort. All right. Again, the I dot data point. There we are. And then finally, I can just copy this one here. Probably you already figured it out. Label here, data sort, and this should be the label name here. Remember this one here. All right. So once we've got this, and now we can do is we can just double check this one more time. Constant. oh no, sorry, not content, console log. We're going to check this. Then we say here BC, and what I want to do is BC is for the background color, but what I'm probably more interested is in the database and the label, so we can see the color name and the value. So if I save this now, semicolon, semicolon, save, refresh. All right, so we have this here. Now what happens? Let's see, do we have, all right, we get these two, that's correct. So we have 6 data points, and the lowest value was number 2, and the lowest value color was purple. All right, so this works all. Now we have everything working. Oh, I'll just ignore this one. So we have this now all working. So the next thing what I want to do is basically this here. Oh, I just get my battery charged. So what we're going to do now is the following. We're going to put in here the constant, basically the constant of the value. So DB is for data point. There we are. LAB stands for the label. There we are. Finally, we have the BGC, which is the background color. There we are. And finally, it's the BC for the border color. Grab this one and put it in there. All right. I'm going to remove this. Save this. And then we have a real long formula, I guess. But, bam, there you are. So with this, you can basically add up here. And now you have sorted your values here. And if you would add up here something else, let's make this something more crazy. 17, 22. And then what I want to do is I want to make a challenge. We will do here 19 and one more time 19. See what happens. If I save this now, refresh, you can see 7, 12, 17. Am I correct? Yes, we had a 12, 17, 19, 19, 19, and then 22. There you are. This is how you organize and sort your chart values. Basically here you collect all the data, you make them in what we call a key value pair. In this case, we paired all 4 data points together because they're all directly linked with each other. Important, make sure you do this. If you don't do this and you do the index off, you get the error that I have, or that I made a mistake that I have, and then you get the wrong colors matching. All right, so never do that. Do this what I'm doing here, what I've showed you here. Exactly this. Follow this structure. Once you have that, we convert it into a object. We match them all together. Then what we did was we have the sort the object based on the data point, because that's the one that we can compare with by making it a value or number sorting. And then afterwards we split it out together, or we cut it again back into 4 pieces with all of these individually. And that's basically what I did. So if you have any questions, or maybe you struggle a bit more, I won't be surprised. You can put them in the comment section below. Thank you for watching this video, and I hope you enjoy it. And if you enjoy this video, you probably will enjoy this one as well. And if you're interested in chart.js, check out in the description box the link directing to my chart.js course, where you can learn everything about chart.js. And finally, of course, make sure you subscribe to my channel.